All right. So, how do you take bitters?
Right, we've got all these bitters now. Let's get them into you. Yeah.
So, one option is to take them straight up, right? And you can have a tincture or some other liquid extract of your bitter herbs and take them right on the tongue. Just like that. You can make bitter tea, right? You don't have to be a weirdo who's trying to impress his new herbalist girlfriend and drinks, a quarts of Centauri all day. But
it was very impressive, y'all. It really was very impressive.
It worked. But you can make tea of a bitter plant. You can drink it. You don't have to take enormous amounts. You could have a tiny teacup before your meals. Mm-hmm. That's totally effective. Yeah.
It's great to learn the flavors by themselves, but it is better if you will actually do it.
Yeah.
So you always can toss a little ginger in there. You always, putting honey in or some sweetener does not always work, but putting a strong flavor often does, whether that is a strong pungent kind of flavor or a heating kind of flavor like ginger or cinnamon.
I find the sweet herbs do a better job than just a straight sweet like sugar.
Yeah.
If you put fennel together with a bitter herb,
yeah,
it softens
that's much better
significantly.
Yeah. Or then the other thing is sour. If you put orange peel in with something, or some of the berries in with something that's bitter. Yeah. For example, with reishi, by itself, pretty bitter. But if you put it in with a little bit of cacao nibs and a bunch of hawthorn berries, suddenly it's oh, this is actually not bad at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can for some bitter plants in particular, you can just take them and chew them straight. Calamus is the foremost in my mind for that, right? You can have little pieces or slices of calamus and just chew on them. Excellent way to take it. Very effective. Very good.
You could do that with dandelion and burdock too, and just eat it afterwards. Just swap, because then you're getting the bitterness. You're slowly releasing all of the constituents of the plant, and then when you swallow it, you're also getting all of that fiber. So yeah.
Nice. You can, of course, make a digestive bitter formula for yourself, right? And generally when that happens, you're combining your bitter herb with something carminative, because our goal is digestion, right?
Yeah.
So carminative is the other major action of herbs in terms of basic digestive support.
It takes a lot of heat to break down food, which is part of why cooking is actually so awesome, because it pre-digests a lot of your food for you, and that reduces the amount of heating energy that your body requires to, you're not starting from zero, is what I'm saying. It's you're starting with the oven preheated. Yeah. But so those carminative herbs are also bringing more heat in, and especially if you run cold and you tend to have sluggish digestion, bringing any extra heat in that you can is going to really improve the whole system.
Yeah. And then, like you said, you can add other herbs for complementary flavors, to make it appealing, to make it work well, or just for the theme, this one here is actually a formula. It's labeled Evergreen Not So Bitters. Because
I thought that blend wasn't really as bitter as it could have been.
Yeah, the amount of bitter we put in there probably could have been bumped up, but this was pine and some hemlock and a few other, evergreen herbs tinctured in there together with it.
I mean, it is bitter, but it's just so piney that it doesn't...
It's a balsamic flavor.
Yes.
So, but you can, honestly, it's hard to think of a flavor profile or a flavor creation that you couldn't tack a little bitter onto if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. And the other way to say that is the options for making a digestive bitters blend or a cocktail bitters blend are really broad. And sometimes if you see a preparation or a recipe and you're that's weird, try it. Because it might be awesome.
It might be awesome.
It still may be weird, but after a while you'll get used to it and be this is the best thing ever. Yeah, that's happened to us a bunch of times.
I think that both digestive bitters and cocktail bitters, which you don't have to put cocktail bitters into alcohol. You can put them into tonic water or just any kind of fizzy water. Yeah. You can put them in juice. They're fun. And they're bitter, so that's great. But that's a really fun place to experiment because you can't screw it up. As long as the end result tastes bitter, you know it will work. And formulating can be, I think, a little intimidating, especially for folks who are new to herbalism and new to formulation, because sometimes you think, oh man, I'm going to make this blend and it's going to really help. And then you taste it and it is so gross. And you're like, I don't know how to make this taste good. But with digestive bitters or cocktail bitters, if it turns out to not taste good, no problem. Because it's bitter, so it's fine. So like you really can't mess it up. You can make them taste super fun and interesting and even tasty. But if you miss, no problem. It's still bitter. It's still going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The classic approach to something like a cocktail bitter preparation is you get bitter, sour, pungent, and sweet all together in the same remedy.
In different proportions.
Yeah.
Depending on, like, by preference, not necessarily like there's a book that will tell you the exact proportions. I mean, you can find a ton of different recipes for cocktail bitters, but...
Yeah, if you're making a citrus bitters, you're going to have more sour than anything.
Yes,
exactly. Obvious stuff like that, right? But having all of those tastes triggered at the same time dials down the severity of the bitterness and makes it more appealing. Yeah. But look, you can play around with this a lot. You can try bitter herbs infused into wine or vinegar or honey. Sure, go for it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
You can take these herbs the way you take any of your herbs, right? And it is worth experimenting with that. We've made little bitter lozenges, like all kinds of stuff. That's good to do.
Especially, a lot of times people think, well, because bitters normally, like the most common way to take bitters these days is a tincture. It's just like the most available thing.
Some of them have spray tops now.
Yeah.
But that's what it is inside.
Yeah, it's still alcohol.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't work with alcohol. A lot of people have allergies, people are in sobriety, people for religious reasons, or just plain don't like it. It doesn't feel good to them. And there's no need for alcohol to get your bitters. Like, yeah, make little bitter lozenges, like pastilles, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can make so many different things bitter. You can make bitter cookies. Like, why not?
Yeah, and don't forget your salads.
Yes. Bitter hot cocoa. Yeah, all different, like, super interesting things that you could do. So don't limit yourself.
If you need more inspiration and you're a student in our courses, or will be soon, just want to briefly mention that we cover bitters many places and many times because
they're
as we've
so important.
Tried to lay out here, they're multifactorial. So in our Materia Medica course, we have full profiles on the following bitter plants: centauri, burdock, dandelion, angelica, calamus, yellow dock, mugwort, reishi, motherwort, turmeric, St. John's wort, boneset, wild lettuce, blue vervain, hops, coffee, and cacao.
Wait, and also chamomile.
Oh yes, chamomile.
And calendula.
Calendula.
And I think there's more than that. Did you say yarrow? Because we have one on yarrow.
I didn't mention yarrow, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so there's more. So, there's even more than those.
So that's at least 20 herbs out of 90.
Did you say elecampane? Yeah.
I'm not sure we have we do.
We do. Yeah, so there's a lot, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that of the 90 herbs that we cover in detail in that course, like 20 or 21 or so of them have bitterness as a significant part of their flavor profile. So again, let that be another reminder of the importance of this group. Yeah. Okay, so that's Materia Medica. In our medicine making course, we do have a whole chapter on cocktail bitters and how to put them together and a bunch of recipe examples and things like that. Of course, bitters are featured prominently in the nutrition course and the digestion course. We talk about the phytochemistry underlying the bitter flavor in the phytochemistry course. Big surprise. And there's multiple times we come back to bitterness as like a flavor, but also a concept in the neurological and emotional health course. Yeah.
And probably, honestly, it probably shows up at least once, or probably more than that, in every other course. Like, I can think of multiple mentions in the first aid course, and you might be like, bitters in first aid? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think probably Maybe not in musculoskeletal. That might be the only one. Maybe not in integumentary. Because those are primarily topical, and you don't taste it if it's topical.
There are bitter herbs.
There are bitter herbs in there. Yeah.
But not because they're bitter. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as a reminder, if you want to study with us, we would love to have you join us. When you learn at Commonwealth Holistic Herbalism, you get courses primarily made up of self-paced video lessons so that you can take them at your own pace and learn on your own schedule. You get access to twice weekly or more live Q&A sessions by Zoom with us.
So the reason that we do this is that everybody learns best at different times of the day. Everybody has different schedules that work for them. And so the bulk of the material you can do any time that works for you. If you learn best in the morning, if you learn best late at night, if you learn when your kid is taking a nap, like whatever.
On your commute,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then we don't want you to just be alone. Just like, oh, I guess I just got to work through this. So that's why we have these live Q&A sessions. They're optional. They're all recorded. You get all the recordings, but also all the history of recordings. There's like 300 hours of recordings. Well, depending on when you listen to this, there's probably many more. Yeah. Of recorded Q&A sessions in there, and they have like a global table of contents. And so, but the thing is that opportunity to join live with the whole community, asking questions and seeing how other people are working through their content, like working through their lessons, and how are they implementing this stuff and how are they thinking about it, that helps you to think about how you're thinking about this stuff and how are you implementing it. And, oh, they're doing something cool. I'm going to try that too, Yeah.
Yeah. What does your bitters blend look like? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, on top of that, there's the student community, which is like a kind of like a social media discussion space, but it's not connected to Facebook or
no, it's totally private.
Yep, private, but you can open it up on your phone and you can scroll through, but now you're scrolling through herbal learning and herbal community and discussion and excitation rather than that other stuff.
It's awesome. It's really, I feel so excited. There are people I talk to multiple times a day in the community, and there are people who just, pop in once in a while, but I love getting to see what everybody's working on. I love getting to know everybody better, and it's really fun.
Yeah. As you're working through the course material, if you have a question in the middle of a video, you click a button, it opens up an interface, you pop your question in. We answer it within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And so you get to keep on moving.
And not only that, but it will send you an email with the answer, so you don't even have to go back and find, you can, it'll still be there. But also the answer will come directly to you, and you don't have to do anything to get it. It will just magically appear in your inbox.
Yeah. And of course there's study guides, and we've got quizzes, and we've got assignments for you at the end of each course, and that's all great. And by the way, your access doesn't evaporate. As long as there's an internet and we're on it, you will have access to your courses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we make updates in the future, you get those too.
Right.
Yeah. So we think it's a pretty good deal, and you can find everything we offer at online.commonwealthherbs.com. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. So have you taken your bitters yet today? My friends? Because if not, now is the time. Go get them.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it long enough. It's time to go and get anything bitter that you've got to hand and get it in you.
And you're ready to spread the good word about bitters, so, next human you run into, just hand them something bitter and see how much they smile at you. And you might also want to share this episode with some friends.
They might not smile about the bitters, but then you can be like, no, just listen to this, you'll understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to correct the epidemic of bitter deficiency syndrome amongst our peoples.
Woo!
Let's do that. All right, we'll come back soon with another episode. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, drink some tea.
Drink some tea.
And take your bitters.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.